We got Dan Ige back here on the program. Is going to be taking on Jordan Griffin at UFC on Fox 31 on December 15th. Dan, how's it going, man?
Hey, what's up, James? It's a pleasure talking to you again. Just leaving my workout and heading to work, and hopefully I don't crash on the way.
Exactly. No, I appreciate the multitasking here in this interview. You mentioned going to work. So are you going to Ali's house? Because, we've talked about this before. Obviously, you work for Dominance. Do you guys have like a place you guys meet every day?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, I'm still working with Ali full time. I pretty much I'm involved in the business 24/7. So it keeps my mind sharp, especially with fighting. I'm constantly around fights, around high level guys, champions. Work with some of the best fighters in the world, and it just kind of elevates me to that level. But yeah, like I said, yeah, I'm heading to Ollie's house now, and we usually work from all over. We're on the road, we're at his house, we're at the office, at the gym. Doesn't really matter. We can get the work done, wherever we are.
Yeah, no, that's great. So what's on the agenda for today, work wise? Anything you can tell us, obviously, without giving away any secrets of the trade,
No, just a typical. We got a lot of guys coming up. We'll probably talk to the matchmakers like Mick and Sean about some guys who need fights, or we'll go over the roster who needs fights coming up and who doesn't have fights, or we're always looking at the future, like who's the next matchup, and just trying to build everyone to the top, but at the same time I'm trying to do the same thing. So yeah, so it's definitely a balance I gotta have, and it's a good job though.
One thing I wanted to ask you is, do you guys ever run into a situation where you have fighters that might face each other? Because again, Dominance has so many fighters in the UFC. I'm sure it's bound to happen at some point.
Uh, yeah, it's typical. We have a lot of guys, especially at like middleweight, for example. But we usually our guys don't usually fight each other unless it's for like a number one contender match, or they're fighting for the title. Like for example, Lear Latifi and Corey Anderson, they're both fighting December 29th in Las Vegas, but that's the number one contender fight. I mean, you can call it that. So whoever wins that fight can potentially fight for a title. So, but typically outside of title fights and number one contender fights, our guys aren't going to fight each other. There's so many guys on the roster, so uh,
Okay, that's interesting. Just one more thing on sort of work wise. You posted that photo the other day on your Instagram with the belt that Khabib Nurmagomedov won. Seeing him win that fight and just everything that went into that. How much does that motivate you in your camps just to see the greatness that someone like Khabib has achieved?
it's huge, man. Habib's someone I look up to a lot. I've done a lot of training with him. I've seen him go through the downfall when no one supported him. He went through how many ACL surgeries, knee surgeries. He hurt his back. He was out for a long time, and he won a lot of fights, and then he was put on the sideline. Put on the sideline, and so it was just cool to watch someone like that go through adversity and finally come to the top and win the title, and then defend the title against someone like Conor McGregor. One of the biggest fight in UFC history for sure. And just to be there and be a part of it was huge. And it was definitely stressful, but I made it through it. And just to see my friend, get the title, and now look at him. He's meeting sheiks, he's meeting kings around the world, traveling to different countries. He's in Nigeria, helping build wells for the poor, and build hospitals and medical centers. Just giving back, and that's like he's a huge role model, and that's someone I look up to, and it's awesome to see not only someone becoming a champion but giving back, and that's a big thing for me. It's just I've always something I wanted to do is just give back to the people who helped me, or give back to the people who don't who aren't as privileged as I am. And so it's definitely motivating, and I know I'll get there.
Some of that success with Dominance has rubbed off on you, man. We got to talk about your last fight. 50 seconds was all you needed to take care of Mike Santiago. Where does that win rank in terms of career moments, especially getting the win the way you did?
Yeah, you're a gamer. I think you call it a flawless victory,
Yeah,
Mortal Kombat.
yeah.
uh, yeah, but that's the same. That fight went great. It went perfect. But then again, this MMA, the same thing could have happened to me. I could have went in there fully prepared. I could have got clipped and finish in 50 seconds. So it's a brutal sport, and I'm not going to put myself on a pedestal because of that fight, but I definitely have to go out there and keep improving, which I'm doing now. And I have a tough opponent ahead of me, Jordan Griffin, and he trains at a respectable camp at Duke Rufus Sport. And I know he has a lot of good training partners there, and he's working hard. He has some great coaches, and so I'm expecting the best Jordan Griffin, and I'm definitely not underestimating him, and I'm working harder than ever, and I'm always looking to improve, and I'm definitely going to go in there and go into another guy's hometown and hopefully quiet the crowd.
That fight I mentioned with Santiago was back in June. We're talking about a fight here in December. Was that always the plan to fight later in the year, or were you looking to get in there a little bit sooner?
To be honest, right after the Santiago fight, I felt great. I had zero injuries. I wanted to get a quick turnaround, but it's like kind of a month. I was staying ready. A month went by, and kind of no word on the fight or anything yet. I thought I was maybe gonna fight in March, actually in Vegas, or sorry, not March. When was Vegas? October. Uh, and that didn't happen. So I just kind of took a little time off, let my body heal, and I was like, I want to at least get one more fight before the end of the year. And December 15th, that date came up, so that was perfect. Right before Christmas and the holidays, and yeah, so hopefully we can go out this year with a bang, and then start next year, 2019, with is it 2000? I don't even know what year it is. Come on.
Yeah, it's 2019 next year. Yeah, I know you're a busy guy. It's easy to forget that stuff. So
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm just, but I always focus on one fight at a time. I just want to get this fight done, and we'll see what happens from there. You never know what happens.
anything different at all about this camp heading into this fight, or is it just business as usual at training at Extreme Couture and doing all the work at the Performance Institute?
Business as usual. Constantly growing, constantly trying to better myself. I always go back and look at my old fights, and see what mistakes I made, see the holes in my game, and try to fill those holes, and constantly try to grow and improve. I'm never in uh, a mindset where I feel like, all right, I've done it all, I've done enough. There's always more. There's always more to work on and improve on. And this is kind of the mindset I pick up from working with champions and just being around, guys who are at the top, guys who are in the top five, top 10, top 15, and just I look at their mindsets and I try to take little things from everyone and apply it to my own. And I think I'm on the right path, James. I, I want to sit here and tell you, I'm going to be the champion, but the reality is I'm 1-1 in the UFC, and I have a lot of work to do. So, yeah, so we got to get through this fight and see what happens from there.
What about representing Hawaii? There's been a lot of good news with Hawaii lately. Louis Smolka gets re-signed to the UFC. Martin Day gets signed to the UFC. I know you're a proud Hawaiian. What does that mean to carry that flag, into the cage on the 15th?
Yeah, that's great, man. Those guys deserve it. They were right there working hard, especially when I was back living in Hawaii. I was training with them, and those guys work hard. And it's hard to someone from Hawaii to get noticed and get signed. So props to them, and they deserve everything and more. And I hope they do good, and I wish them luck. Let's get it, boys. Let's go represent for Hawaii. This is what we're here for. This is what motivates us. We have the mana, and we bring the mana wherever we go. And uh, yeah, so I'm stoked. There's so much more talent out there. Not even them. There's so many unnoticed guys and unsigned guys, and eventually we'll all get there, and then we'll have a UFC Hawaii, and then the world will know.
Yeah, you must have been a little bit jealous to see that Bellator's going to Hawaii before the UFC. I thought that was interesting.
It is what it is. I think it's good for the sport. Um, I don't get jealous about those type of things. It's good. What Bellator's doing is it's they're bringing an event to Hawaii, and it'll be a test run, and if they're successful, then I definitely can see a UFC having an event there in the future. So, um, I'll definitely lobby for it for as long as I'm fighting, and even after if it doesn't happen. So, uh, let's just stay positive, and hopefully we'll get it. But if not, it doesn't matter if you know we're fighting in America and Hawaii and Canada, Europe, or on the moon. It doesn't matter. same cage.
Good answer. I like that. Who's going to be in your corner for this fight?
I'm gonna have Eric Nixick. You know, he's my head coach, and I'm bringing my brother Skyler again, my brother-in-law. He cornered me in my last fight, and actually, so I only have two corners, but my dad said he's gonna fly out, so I'm gonna kind of surprise him and put him in my corner too, and just let him be part of the moment. He was actually a pretty established wrestler, so I need a wrestling coach.
Cool. Is your dad still back in Hawaii?
Yeah, my dad's back in Hawaii. He's he's active duty military, still working full time. Been in the serving in the military for as long as I've been born. So it's he's definitely someone I look up to and I respect a lot. And it's just really cool that I can actually share something with him and share the moment and something he's a fan, man. Like he's never been more excited. Like I have a great relationship with him, and I'm happy to continue the legacy, the Ige legacy.
There you go. How do you see this fight playing out on the 15th?
I always expect a 3 round war. I never go in there and just say I'm gonna knock this guy on the first round. Santiago, I was expecting a hard, tough fight, 3 round war, but it went in. I finished it in 50 seconds, so I'm expecting the same. Jordan Griffin's pretty well rounded, tough southpaw, lanky, long. Uses his range well. He's got tricky submissions. He's an opportunist, so I have to protect myself at all times, like they say, and keep my chin tucked. And I'm gonna put my hands on him, and use my wrestling, use my everything. I'm gonna use everything. You'll see everything in this fight.
What are the plans for Thanksgiving this year? You got this fight coming up, so you probably can't have as much turkey as you'd like.
Yeah, we actually had a friendsgiving a couple weeks ago, so I kind of picked out. That was kind of my Thanksgiving, and we might do a little something at home, but nothing big planned for the holidays. Just relax with the family, and uh, just this fight is the main thing. Nothing's more important. No holiday can can put me back, and I never use that as an excuse. So it's just another Thursday, and I'm gonna go in, get my sparring in, get my conditioning in, and then that's it.
Well, and I was going to say one thing that you have that's kind of nice is your wife teaches CrossFit, so I'm sure she's already eating healthy as well. So it's like, you're not around really bad food all the time, which is great.
Yeah, that's true. She is she's a competitive athlete, but she is my head nutritionist for this camp. So she's been doing a lot of work and taking nutrition courses, weight cut specialist courses. Um, she's full in charge of that. I've been working with her now for 8 weeks. On She does my macros, my diet, everything. Tells kind of, even though like this is what I went to school for and I studied, it's nice to have someone to just tell you what to do and tell you what to eat, and tell you when you can splurge a little bit. And so I trust in her 100%. And yeah, she actually helped me my last weight cut, and it was the best weight cut I ever had, and I'm sure this will be the best weight cut I ever had. So it's always improving and always getting better.
Last question before we let you go. What is downtime looking like for you these days? I know you don't really take any days off at all, but are you watching any TV or playing any video games, anything like that?
Yeah, I like I said, I barely get any downtime. So when I do, I like to enjoy it with my wife, or we have my brother in town, so we'll hang out. We'll go on a hike. I like hiking, getting outdoors when I can. Definitely need that sunlight, that vitamin D. Um, but I play little games here and there. I'm kind of getting into the new Call of Duty. It's a little fun, so I try to mess around on there. But I'm an old school guy, so I know you are too, and like N64, and I miss all those games. I miss those days. So, um, yeah.
No, I like it. You got good taste, man. I can definitely agree with
Yeah.
that. Well, I don't want to make you late for work here, so I appreciate the time, Dan, as always. Just remind people where they can find you on social media, and if you have any sponsors or shout outs, the floor is yours.
Yeah, it's Dynamite Dan 808 on Instagram and Twitter. Um, First, I just want to thank all my coaches: Eric Nixick, Dennis Davis, Nate Pettit, um, Kyle Laramie at the UFC Performance Institute, my wife Savannah Ige, everyone that's just been involved, my management team. Brian Butler at Sucker Punch Entertainment, Ali Abdelziz, of course, at Dominance MMA. And just thank you to all these guys. Of course, all my training partners, that's helped me get me to where I am today. Props to them for putting in the work side by side with me. So that's all I got to say. But appreciate your time, James.